These foods are making you fat and sick. If you think plant-based butter is good for you, think again.
Hello, everyone. We're here to save you from that scary man that you just heard. Don't worry,
he's not here to stay.
Don't worry, you're listening to the right podcast. This is the Up-Beet Dietitians podcast, but we're going to talk about him today.
Yes, we are. We are talking about Bobby Parrish, otherwise known as, is it FlavCity or FlavCity? Have you ever heard
I was
actually
gonna share this with you. I didn't want to share it off mic because this would be something funny to share. You know how I have a history of mispronouncing words?
Aspartame. How do you say aspartame?
Aspartame.
Aspartame. Yes.
I just now realized, well, not just now. After looking into Bobby a little bit more, I realized I think it's FlavCity based off of the capital F and C.
Yeah.
But I've just been reading it as FlavCity or what a weird name to have, Bobby FlavCity. And now I'm oh
my gosh.
Probably Flavor City, I assume.
Is that what it's supposed to mean? I didn't think it was FlavCity, but I didn't know if it was FlavCity or not. I didn't know if that was supposed to mean
what
something.
else would it be?
I don't know. I think I would have included the E in there if I was branding myself as FlavCity. I don't get it because that's his handle is FlavCity. But then he uses a lot of stuff regarding his name Bobby for his marketing, which we'll get to.
Oh.
Bobby approved and all that.
Interesting.
Anyway,
we can move on.
We can move on from that.
Name is
that is
already
topic.
Stumped, but
before we get into it more, let's do some housekeeping real quick. This is the season premiere of season 7. So welcome to season 7, guys.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed our throwback episodes and the montage you heard last week. That was probably a blast to listen to. At the time that we're recording this now, I haven't made the montage yet, but I have high hopes for it. It's going to be great, I think. So let me know if it was. This is really confusing timing wise. My brain is kind of unable to grasp where we're at. But
yeah, we're multiple months in the future, but we have to remember what happens between.
Yeah. And there's stuff that we're going to do that we haven't done yet that you guys know we have done. Very trippy. But anyway, welcome to season 7.
They don't know.
Yeah, right now they don't know. In August.
Welcome. Let's get into it because we already scared you guys with you thinking that someone took over our podcast. But we're here and this is us and we're okay and we're safe and we have not been abducted
unless we do get abducted in the next 2 months.
That's true. There are aliens confirmed. You know what? The aliens probably wouldn't even want to abduct us. They'd be
they're too messed up and mentally unwell.
Yeah, they're we're not gonna mess with them. They'd be too much to handle.
We have so much to say today and we can't stay on topic.
Okay,
talked about
let's talk about Bobby
aliens.
Parrish. I'm gonna say Parrish because I'm just gonna keep saying FlavCity because that is who he is. I no one ever says his name. Okay.
Let's just say Bobby. I'm just going to call him Bobby, which is kind of weird because you have a very close Bobby in your life, but.
Yes. So today we were talking about one Bobby. After this, we'll probably never mention him again, hopefully. So Bobby, if you are not familiar, have not been acquainted with him, besides the clip we played, he is a content creator, very well known on YouTube and TikTok. He also writes cookbooks. He's a blogger. And most importantly, he is a little businessman. He has some supplements. He sells his cookbooks, obviously. Yeah, and that's who he is. He went to school for business. I thought he went to school. I thought he went to culinary school based off of what he talks about, but he went to school for business, not nutrition. And overall, he is worth over $5 million.
I just think that Bobby would be a little bit upset that you called him a little businessman.
I
Straight to the ego.
I'm in my I haven't seen the Barbie movie yet.
Me neither.
By the time this has come out, I will have.
Mm.
But I'm in my between like that and how the Barbie movie and Taylor Swift are the two things keeping the economy afloat. I'm in my like man-hating phase. I don't think I'm entering it. I think I've been in it for a while, but it's really coming out today.
Yeah. Bobby would not love that, but I think it's a great way to describe him. He is very well known for his grocery store reviews. Most of the videos that you've probably seen, if you have seen him, been acquainted, as Emily says, you've probably seen him in a grocery store holding up a certain food and talking about how it's Bobby approved or not. And Bobby approved is really kind of it's his thing. Like that's what his followers know, and like how they talk about food is if it's Bobby approved or not. And we're going to get to why maybe that's not so great in a little bit. But yeah, he's on TikTok, he's on YouTube. He has something called his Bobby approved app. So like you can scan foods and it will tell you if it's Bobby approved or not, which again, we'll get into that more. Emily, you included this YouTube bio. Do you want us to talk about that at all?
I just think it really depicts a good picture of who he is. We could just list them off. I feel like we're gonna go into all of these throughout the episode, but just to start it off, what he promotes and what this is like directly from his source. So this is not our interpretation. He will say, if you follow him, you'll learn how to shop for the best quality items at the grocery store. You will learn how to eat the better. Nope. You will learn how to eat that. Is this a type of, okay,
did you copy and paste this?
I copy and pasted this. Hold on a second. I'm going to his YouTube right now. I'm like, I am not Bobby FlavCity. You have a typo in your bio.
I can't. I'm cracking up at FlavCity.
Okay, wait. Okay. It is. I was like, I directly copied this. I was
you heard it here first, folks.
This is what it says. I am not misinterpreting it. It says you will learn how to eat the better and help eliminate inflammatory oils and processed sugars from your diet. How to eat the better.
Little businessman, my fat booty.
Not even proofreading your YouTube bio where you have over 4 million subscribers.
Dang.
I'm already confused. But anyway.
This is already like, I'm fired up. Y'all know I love grammar. So this is like really getting me going.
Yeah. The last thing he claims is you'll learn about his best-in-class protein smoothies, electrolytes, and other shop FlavCity products or other shop FlavCity.
I can't, now you've ruined it for me. I can't think of anything besides FlavCity.
This has been my life. Like this is inside my head since I have discovered him online.
You're a chronic reader is what it is, where you read and read and read, but then like you don't say the words.
I don't say anything out loud. I literally don't say anything out loud. So it's all in my head. And then I start talking. I'm like, oh, that's not how people say things.
That's so funny.
So that's like just
it flows better. FlavCity, I feel like
FlavCity. It kind of like this might be I'm also gonna ruin this.
Oh no.
Sometimes when I'm really reading his stuff fast, not that I don't read it fast, I just like skim over the words. I read FlavCity.
Ew. I mean, I feel like it tracks.
Yeah. So that's who he is to me. FlavCity or FlavCity.
FlavCity. Wow.
It doesn't really I think it's because TikTok doesn't let you put caps in your username. So like whenever he comes up, he doesn't come up on my For You page because I have a very nicely curated For You page, so he will not come up. It's just like people stitching him typically. But I see it. And I think he needs to change his brand.
Little businessman,
Clearly, I
little
am-
flaccid businessman.
Oh my gosh. All right, we need to move on because I feel like all we've done is been a bully.
I know. We're not even like to the part of our outline where we go into the issues, but we've already discovered that he doesn't know grammar and that he is a flaccid little man.
Yeah.
You're right.
Oh,
We're
okay.
bullying.
Okay.
Maybe Bobby is very kind, but
I
in
don't
terms of
know.
nutrition, there's a lot going wrong there.
Let's talk about the issues instead of just attacking him for his grammar and his poor choice in username.
Yes. Okay. So one of the first issues, honestly, well, these are all bad. I won't say it's the worst one because they're all bad. But most of his content is so viral and popular because it utilizes fear mongering. We talk about all the time, Emily and I do, whether it's on or off air, I don't really know, about how like our content tends to not go viral all the time because, I mean, maybe there are other reasons too besides this piece. Maybe we just have bad content. I don't know. But we don't use fear mongering, and fear mongering always goes viral, like almost every single time. It's kind of crazy. Like, even though I don't like fear monger foods, I will post like controversial stuff sometimes. And those posts are always the ones that have a higher likelihood of going viral.
It's like you post like the opposite of fear mongering.
Yeah.
But it's still like controversial. So yeah, but fear mongering, like anytime I see it, like it always does so well because this is so polarizing and so definitive that there's no gray area. And like dietitians typically don't live in the gray, or we do live in the gray. We don't live in the black and white.
That's how like nutrition works, is like it is so gray. There's hardly anything that I can think of that is like one way or the other when it comes to nutrition. Except for like obvious stuff like, but even this, like I was saying, like water is good for you. But like even that, people will say something about, like I saw a video yesterday, they were demonizing different types of bottled water and saying that you should only choose like this brand over this brand. So like even water, I guess, gets controversy.
It's a lot of like weird water elitism. It's, I don't know. Yeah. But yes, I agree. Yes. Almost everything we'll say, because we probably can't think of every nutrition issue or nutrition topic, is gray in the world of nutrition. And a lot of his content is fear mongering, and it's fear mongering like specific ingredients. And he's like, oh, don't buy this. Buy this instead. It's Bobby approved. I actually haven't watched a lot of his content, so I don't know if he sounds like that. This is all my interpretation.
His
of
voice
him
makes me like quiver. That's the wrong word. It makes me not quiver. Definitely not quiver. What's the opposite of quiver? Makes me stand still.
Yeah.
It's bone chilling is what I meant to say.
Yeah, it's bone chilling. But the thing is, he'll like demonize one ingredient and then he'll sell the exact same thing. Like his supplements are wild.
Did you look at
looking
them?
into the ingredient list? Oh yeah. I looked at the ingredient list. I'm like, bro,
it's bad.
It's just because you're saying it's Bobby approved. That's literally like most of the push for it. And then you put some like anti-inflammatory and like all these like, now I can't think of words. Like what are like buzzwords? There we go.
Did you see the one video? I think it was from, okay, so there's someone that I want to kind of plug. His name is The Plant Slant. He's become very popular lately. He's like grown so fast.
Do we like him?
We like him. He's an RD2B. And he has like his whole, I know. I don't know. He's like, he works in sleep medicine. I think he might be like a second degree kind of guy.
Oh, dang.
But anyway, he's been growing so fast because all he does, well, he does a lot of stuff, but a lot of his content is reviewing Bobby. And he has been like taking him down.
I love
I love it. He's grown from like 20,000 followers to like 450 something in like,
oh my gosh,
a few months. Yeah.
Good for him. The hero we needed.
I know. So he's the one, I was watching a lot of his videos today when I was kind of researching this stuff. And He made one about one of Bobby's protein powders where on the front it has all these buzzwords. One of them is it's a nut-free protein powder. Flip it over to the back and you see that it contains coconuts, which are classified as a tree nut, and it's also been processed in a nut containing facility. So like if you have a nut allergy and you just see that buzzword on the front, you're like, okay, cool, I'm good to go. But then you actually get this product and if you're highly allergic, can definitely get a reaction out of that.
Ugh, that's just like so frustrating with like the label regulations of everything.
Which is another thing. So Bobby has content talking about how supplements aren't great because they're not third-party tested, which obviously we agree with that. But then his own supplements aren't third-party tested. So he talks about how bad that is to not have third-party testing, but then doesn't do it himself.
A silly little man.
Silly little flaccid man.
Oh, it's just like so on brand. Every time we do like one of these, we haven't done a lot of these like influencer reviews.
Yeah.
But it's just so on brand where like they demonize something and then they just sell the exact same thing just with their approval on it. Or they say something and it just like they do the exact opposite of or like the exact same thing.
Exactly.
Can we talk about this next bullet point? I did not know.
Did you see this?
About this? No.
Okay. So he posted a video talking about juice and like which juice to buy in the grocery store, as Bobby does. And a woman in the comments was asking something about like the gestational diabetes glucose test you have to take when you're pregnant, about like 20 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
And they were asking if like these juices would be a good alternative to the glucose, like juice stuff that make you drink for the test. And Bobby said, don't take that test. It is insane. He told a woman not to test for gestational diabetes. Bobby, the little businessman with no medical credentialing whatsoever, was telling people to not take the GDM test.
He had to have made so many gynecologists, OBGYNs, endocrinologists mad.
Oh yeah, this like blew up for a minute. I'm surprised you didn't hear about it. It like was a big thing for a while.
I like really actively avoid his face. So like even if someone's reviewing him, I probably won't watch it because I like don't want to see him.
Bone chilling, yeah. I need to use that word
Oh my
more.
gosh.
Yeah.
That just like makes me so mad because like he doesn't know anything about gestational diabetes.
Right.
He's not even a woman. Not that like you obviously like men can be doctors, even though I would for the rest of my life, I will be going to a female OBGYN.
We have never discussed this, have we? I wanted to know how you felt about male gynecologists.
I am there. I would not feel safe. Like I've heard too many stories.
Yeah.
Like most of my doctors are women. The only one that's a man, because I'm just gonna share my health history, is my cardiologist. But that's because I've been going to him since I was like 3 years old.
Yeah.
He's technically a pediatric cardiologist. I should not be seeing him anymore. But we're waiting for a heart murmur to clear up. Otherwise, and it's not clearing up. So if something happens to me cardiovascular wise, that's what it was.
Oh my God.
Just to let you know. No one really knows about this. I don't tell my friends, but there's a heart. One of my valves doesn't shut all the way. It like actually it like backflows a little bit.
Oh.
And apparently in your 20s, okay, I'll read it in a second. Apparently in your 20s and like early 30s is when this issue is supposed to resolve. Hence why I'm still seeing my pediatric cardiologist. And it just hasn't resolved. And there's nothing I can do about it. It just like either decides to like fix itself or like not fix itself.
So like if it doesn't, what happens?
I don't know. I'm like, does it open more and I have more backflow of blood into my heart?
Yeah.
What does that mean then? Like, do I have an enlarged heart? Do I need to, like, I literally don't know.
Huh. Wow.
But he is a man and I trust him with my life.
Mm.
Because I've been going to him since I was a child, and he was literally like, you can see an adult specifically honest. And I'm like, kind of like we were talking about before recording, like I'm going to my same dentist, I'm going to my home doctor office. We're sticking through it.
My PCP was there the day I was born. Like I've seen the same PCP my entire life. It's a bit of a drive to go. It's like half hour from where I live now. But they've known me for 26 years. So
yeah. You just know.
Yeah.
How do you feel about male gynecologists?
Same. I think the only way I would be if I like knew them my entire life. Like if my PCP, who is a male, was also my gynecologist, or like he did my appointments in that area, I'd feel a little weird about it just because my mom works for him and I like he's like a family friend at this point. So that'd be the only weird thing. But in terms of like knowing him my entire life, that'd be the only way I think I'd be comfortable with it. And of course, I want to say that of course women can, do bad things too during these appointments, not just a male thing. But it tends to be the majority of how those cases occur. So yeah, mine's a female, probably will always be. She's the cutest. I love her.
Yeah. Yeah. I love mine. She's actually a nurse practitioner and we talk about running.
Oh, nice.
And she doesn't make it awful.
Yeah.
Because it's not a pleasant experience.
Oh no, it's terrible. But it helps having a nice doctor or NP.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next point because I have a lot of things to say about this.
Ooh, okay. Let's talk about almond dads.
Yes. A lot of his content posts include his daughter, I assume, or Rose. A small child.
Yeah, her name is Rose, I think.
Okay. So if we're going to look past the blatant exploitation of a child for entertainment, when they
that's what I added to the list.
When, oh my gosh, look at us. We're just on the same page. Oh my gosh. So looking past that, where she cannot consent to this, it's like he teaches her morality around food and like essentially like quizzes her like, oh, is this food good or bad? Or like, you shouldn't eat this, to a young girl. How old do you think she is? I feel like she's like around 8 or 10.
I'd say less than 10, but between 6 and 10 was my guess.
But definitely young and very
impressionable.
Yes. In a very high risk age for eating disorders. But he like is teaching her basically everything he teaches everyone else on the internet, but like makes videos with her so that like when she's like, she knows the right answer that he says, he's essentially just ingraining this like fear of food and morality around food mindset that is going to affect her in the long run.
And like, yeah, I call this an almond dad. We talked about almond moms before, but of course dads can be almond parents as well. This is just like classic generational dieting where like he's going to hand down all of these behaviors because obviously he has some disordered eating if he is like making these videos, unless he's just doing it for his business, which I guess could be the case, but I'm guessing it's a little bit
Sometimes
authentic.
I feel like that's the case, but
yeah,
it came from somewhere.
Well, he does show his fridge sometimes and it tracks with his rules, although his rules are very contradictory, which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, this is not actually going to make his daughter or anyone that watches his videos eat healthier. That's not what this content results in most of the time. It just leads to disordered eating behaviors, fear around food, all or nothing thinking around food, like viewing it as good or bad, putting food on pedestals. Like this just makes things worse. It does not actually help anyone eat healthier, especially not kids.
No, it's really damaging. And I'm like nervous for her. I hope that when she turns 18, she can write a tell-all book. That's what I'm excited. That's what I want to happen with every single child that has been exploited on the internet for regular content creation.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to write a book, and I will read all of their books and support them all. But it's just so harmful and tough to watch. It's like,
it's it's so bad. It's so bad. And some people that follow him only are really there because of her, because of Rose, the daughter. Like, it's like proof is in the pudding kind of thing that he is exploiting her for views, because people are there because Rose is there and she's a cute little girl and they get to see how he is feeding her. And people love to see how others feed their kids, which is a whole other thing to talk about.
I have discovered a TikTok account that I was very confused why it was getting pushed on my page, because I don't particularly
Actively repel children.
But I don't know. You've probably seen it at some point. I don't know if they're just becoming really popular or not. Well, they apparently have millions of views, so they've been popular. But it always starts off with this like young girl eating food, and then it like does different slides to like, or no, it's not the girl. It's like a picture of a lunch, like bento box thing, where it's like, and then it shows like, this is what so-and-so ate for lunch today. And then it's another slide to like this, and this. And the entire account is just showing what she feeds her children. I don't know if it's a woman. I'll say their children, because I don't know who the owner of it. I did not dive that deep. But the entire account is just what I feed my child. And it's like,
something feels weird about that.
Very interesting to me. And like a lot of the food isn't like, not like, children can have sophisticated tastes, I guess. But most oftentimes, from what I've seen, I am not a mother myself, so I can't speak on it firsthand, but it's not always that way, and they don't always eat just what's put in front of their plate. But like the food choices are like almost like, I would say like more sophisticated than like what I eat. And not to say that I am a very uppity person who really has my life together and creates fancy food, but it was interesting. Though, like, I feel like you can do a whole deep dive into like the parent culture online.
It's like what I eat in a day for kids. It's weird.
Yeah. And then like, I bet parents start comparing like, oh, I need to feed my kid this. And like, am I not as good of a parent if I'm not feeding them this way? Like,
Bobby makes that happen. Like, I saw a video with Rose talking about veggie straws, and he's like, so many parents feed their kids these veggie straws thinking that they're vegetables, but they're actually just starch and oil. Like, that's just a direct slam to parents who decide to feed their kids veggie straws, which is totally fine, by the way.
Yeah.
And so those parents feel guilty about it. They spend an extra $50 on the alternative, which is a dramatic thing to say, but it's true in a way.
I mean, it probably adds up after a couple trips.
Exactly. I did see some comments, people saying how much they're spending on groceries now because of Bobby. And it's like exponentially greater because all of his alternatives, of course, are so expensive. His protein powder, the Plant Slant guy that I said I like, he talks about it a lot. For a protein powder, its macronutrient ratio is just like all off. It has like 25 grams of protein, like 11 grams of sugar. I don't know how many total carbs, but 11 grams of sugar, which is a lot for a protein powder, especially from Bobby, who slams on sugar in like almost every video, and like 250 calories, which for that many grams of protein, it usually is a lot less for a protein powder because it has very little fat and carbs. So like, where was I going with this?
We were talking about,
I don't know where I was going with this, but I think it goes about the price of it. It's like $60 for like 20 servings, which is just absurd.
I'm not even surprised.
Which I guess it's a good segue into our next piece about supplements, unless do you have more to say about his
Nope.
almond dad behavior.
Nope. I feel like
We've beat that dead record.
yeah.
So
The
yeah,
next, I feel like
he
sorry,
has
you go,
supplements.
you go.
He has supplements, a lot of them. I actually want to get on his website right now because I haven't perused it too in depth.
I'm just gonna keep it's wild. It says FlavCity everywhere.
FlavCity. I feel like every influencer ever that in some way demonizes food has a supplement line.
Has a supplement line?
Which is so ironic.
Yes. In some way or another.
The irony there is like uncanny.
I don't know if I'd ever see myself selling supplements. I like try to imagine like what would I make? The only thing I would make is protein powders, but if they like actually tasted like just what they said, like if there was a way to figure out like how to make like what I want, like a carrot cake protein powder, but it legitimately tasted like that, I'd be solely making it for my own interest.
You need to partner up with Food Science Babe and figure out the food science behind that. So you have the flavors and like the nutrition component of it, like the ratios of macros and all that. And then Food Science Babe can help figure out the food science.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd probably just do it to like, and this, I'm like, wait, is this diety that I'm doing? I'm like, easy ways to like flavor like smoothies or like make like at home milkshakes.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was much more focused in my business on like the personal training side of things, I definitely like thought about like wanting to do that in the future. And I would really like to get more into the fitness side of things business wise in the future, because I do really have a passion for that and it's a credential I have. But I don't know now that I would want to sell supplements because I think I know too much.
Yeah. I think it would depend on what it was. Like maybe like a for fun thing. I could see that.
Yeah.
Like,
ooh, we could
just see
the Tud Sups.
Yeah. We could like, I don't know what we'd even make. What would I want to make? I would want to make something that's dairy free. So it doesn't hurt my tummy.
I'd rather make food though than supplements. Like we have like a dairy-free ice cream line or something.
Oh, okay. You're right. We're just gonna do that. We'll do that. Oh, that'd be so on brand for us. Because then you and all your ice cream and I can eat it because it won't be painful. Oh, that'd be so fun.
Yeah. And also when we have our coffee shop, we'll have like all of the milk alternatives.
We can have an ice cream bar.
Yes.
With like toppings.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I've always wanted. Well, no, I can't say I always wanted it. I'm saying this as in right now. I've decided I always want it. I love like the froyo shops for the toppings, but what if we did like an ice cream bar and then like you get to choose your topping?
An ice cream tastes way better than froyo. You disagree?
I might.
Wait,
I think
this needs to be a bonus question.
Okay.
But
we're gonna.
You can speak your truth now. We'll get more into the bonus question.
It's not even a comparison of the things. It's only because I associate froyo with like an ungodly amount of toppings.
Yeah.
And I only eat froyo for the toppings. I don't eat it for the froyo.
True.
So it's not a direct comparison.
I'm also curious to know, which we'll save it for a bonus question, your thoughts on like ice cream versus custard versus gelato.
Ooh,
we could do like a whole breakdown
question.
of like frozen treats. Okay.
Next time, tune in.
Yeah. Become a Tud Bud. But yeah, I think again, it's back to the point, very ironic that almost every single influencer that is demonizing foods has a supplement line. And the reason why it's so ironic, if you're kind of like wondering why and haven't quite caught on to the reason there, is they demonize all these foods and ingredients that are regulated, but supplements aren't. Like there is no governing body making sure supplements actually have accurate labels and like safe ingredients in there. So if you're going to demonize something, I say demonize supplements. I know I do.
Yeah. And most times it's like just such an obvious like money grab. Like,
yes,
I like don't eat this, but take my, like they can't sell you food. the closest thing they can probably sell you to food, unless they had like a specific brand, like our future dairy-free ice cream, is like a cookbook. But it's much easier, I feel, to say like, oh, take this one supplement than like cook my recipes. Like from like a convenience standpoint, the supplements are going to be much easier to take, probably not as cost efficient as buying a cookbook and making that, but it's like typically not, it's normally money driven. And that's our next issue with him, is everything he posts is an advertisement.
What was I trying to say here?
The almond peas. Who knows it? But like everything is like, this is Bobby approved, like almost every single post. And then like he'll be like, I don't know if he does this. I don't watch enough of his posts, so I could be speculating. But the Bobby approved motif is directly correlated to his app, in which he makes money off of.
Yeah. And a lot of times too, like even without the app, like of course that's a big part of it, because of course he recommends foods on the app that he makes money off of somehow. There's one video where he is talking about like nut milks, like almond milk specifically, and talking about the emulsifiers and the added sugar and all of that. And there's like one popular brand of almond milk that he talks about that has like 3 grams of added sugar, which of course he's like, that is not Bobby approved. But then what he does recommend is a brand called Kiki milk. And it ends up, or it turns out, that's the right word. It turns out that he is an investor in the company of Kiki milk.
Oh, I have heard this.
Yep. And that Kiki milk has like 5 grams of sugar per like serving. So he does not approve of the 3 grams of the cheaper alternative that he is not an investor for. But Kiki, which he's an investor for, has more sugar, but he's an investor. So go nuts and definitely buy that one instead.
It's like, it takes like a couple minutes just to dive into it a little bit, but it's so obvious. I'm looking at the label of it right now.
The plant slant was like, a good way to know if a food is Bobby approved or not is if he gets somehow paid by you purchasing
I think
it.
I've seen that video.
Really?
I like, that sounds like very...
He's like grown a lot. You've probably seen him. He's been like booming lately.
Okay, I think I have seen him. Liam.
Mm-hmm. He goes hard on Bobby.
Bobby probably hates it.
Bobby probably hates Liam.
That makes me laugh so much. Like, this guy needs to leave me alone. I'm just trying to make money and I'm trying to scam these people, but he's not, he's challenging me.
I hope Liam gets more followers than he does.
I hope so too. I hope Liam takes him down.
Me too.
Yeah. It's just so money driven. As
it is classic.
Sometimes it is.
Classic.
And our last issue is like all this like controversial, like polarizing claims he makes are like typically not even accurate. He just says things.
They're just straight up false.
Like no sources, like obviously no educational background, unless I cannot imagine him like doing any type of like reading a research study or like looking into like, oh.
Picture him like doing a nutrition counseling session. That's what I like to picture. Could this person work with an actual patient?
Could they work with like an actual human being?
Like I imagine like my eating disorder patients, and like if Bobby was trying to do that job. Insane. He thinks it'd be so bad. He would make it worse.
Yeah.
It'd be so bad. But yeah, not only is it oftentimes false, but he also contradicts himself all the time. All the time. Again, Liam, the plant slant, has made tons of funny videos about this where he'll like show different clips of Bobby saying like cane sugar is good here unless it's in this product here. Like it just totally depends on the product apparently. Usually again, if Bobby's like making money somehow off of it. There's one that I thought was hilarious that I don't think it was from Liam. I actually saw it on Bobby's page, but he starts out by saying, sugar is so bad. I don't care what type of sugar it is. Do not eat sugar. And then he goes into what I recommend for sugar is this coconut sugar.
It just like doesn't make sense.
It's insane. Another one I see a lot is processed foods. He'll say like this baking cocoa is highly processed. Do not eat it. Eat this one instead. But then he'll talk about these corn tortilla chips that you can eat instead, or that you can eat because they're Bobby approved, which are obviously a processed food. No one just like is growing corn tortilla chips.
That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be great.
Like a corn tortilla chip farm.
A chip tree. Hello.
That'd be amazing.
Or a bush. But they'd be a bush plant, I think.
They'd probably thrive best like low to the ground. I feel like if they were high, like they'd fall on and break.
They'd crack, yeah.
The plant would adapt to be a bush.
I agree. It wouldn't be underground because that'd be too much pressure on the chip.
No. Yeah. And then like all of his supplements are very processed. So
yes,
he just doesn't. It's only when it's convenient for him.
And like GMOs are his other big thing. Oh my gosh. This isn't on our list, but he always talks about like GMO milk and GMO eggs. And he even says like, even though they are not like a crop that you can grow, they are GMO because they are feeding the chickens and feeding the cows GMO feed. And so Liam, the plant slant, which we're going to tag in the notes, by the way.
I have to go stalk Liam's page.
You do. I was cracking up today when I was looking at him. He's like, that's like saying if I ate these GMO soybeans, that my sperm would be GMO sperm. And if a sperm bank could say, we don't want your sperm because it is GMO sperm.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, what?
Yeah. So like the food you eat, like if a cow eats GMO feed, it does not making GMO milk. That's not how.
Yeah. And we don't become that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What a mess. So yeah, that's Bobby FlavCity.
I could go on for hours. I'm like, I hate this guy. Can I say that? I don't like him at all.
His
comments are interesting. Like I'd say like, I don't know the ratios, but a good portion of them are like, yes, Bobby, you are making my life so much better. I'm so much healthier because of you. And the other, I don't know, let's say 30% are like, you're wrong, like saying what we're saying kind of stuff. I just which is good. And that's why I just like don't get how you can keep going. Like if I was getting comments, I do get comments sometimes, obviously saying that I'm in the wrong, and I sometimes am, I'm sure. But like if it's constant like that, wouldn't you like question?
I feel like you just stop reading comments.
Yeah.
That's all I can imagine them do is like they don't read comments.
But like,
or someone else is managing it.
Like say like Tud, our business, like we received news and we got to the conclusion that what we were doing is like completely wrong, unethical. Like our approach to nutrition was just like invalid. Would we keep doing this, or would we like either switch gears or like shut this down? Like
I get so stressed. Like the minute I find out like something I'm doing is wrong, and I feel like you're the same way, like I change like how I talk or like what I do or how do I interact with people. I feel like, I don't know, maybe like I feel like it's a lack of like caring,
like empathy, it's like, and like morals.
Yeah. Which, since we're in this time period right now, I don't know if you've seen any of the like memes about like Oppenheimer, or like, do you know, have you ever seen that girl on TikTok who like, she like explains like complicated concepts, but like, you know, like I love her. Like with she like always holds it from here. She's walking. Yes, I've seen her. I love her. It's like always for the girls. And she did a very nice, I'm gonna tie this into it. Don't worry. I'm not just bringing up Oppenheimer. She did a nice breakdown of the Oppenheimer movie, and she's like, if you're too like hot to sit in a movie, like physically attractiveness wise, to sit in a movie for 3 hours about an atomic bomb. And she ends it, which apparently like people have actually seen it. And like, there are people that literally are like, yeah, I study like international affairs, and this like sums it up pretty well, where she's like, it took building a nuclear weapon and killing, I think it was, say 150, 200,000 people for a man to learn empathy. And I'm like, that checks out a lot.
Yeah.
In a lot of situations. So like Bobby seems like
he's
he
making his
lacks some
millies.
empathy.
He doesn't care.
He does not care. He probably has like all of his investments set up. So he's like, if anything goes wrong, I got my money. I don't care. I don't care what I'm doing to my people's relationship with food or my daughter. I don't care that he doesn't care that he's exploiting his daughter. That's like all I need to know about him as a person.
Like, I hadn't thought about this topic until social media, and then people started like showing their kids a lot. But like, if I had kids, which please no, God, I would, like, from birth, like, I'm not showing them. I would not show them.
No. And it's like, I don't know, like I feel like people get like so sucked into it where they're like, oh my gosh, so many people want to watch my child do things. And then you just keep doing that. And you just like forget the effect that can have on a child. Like they don't know they can't comprehend what's happening. Like the brain is not developed fully.
I wouldn't post anything, like not on Facebook for my friends to see, like nothing. No. Like not even like exploiting them for content, like even just like showing them, I don't feel comfortable with.
People are creepy on the internet. And like the amount of things I've seen where like it's typically young girls, like pictures are getting saved and stuff like that. I'm like,
so weird. Have you seen the ones where they show the follower count and it's like mostly males follow the account?
I've seen, there was this one account maybe a year ago or so where like the amount of saves on the TikToks were disgusting. Like thousands. It was like a gross amount. And it was like, you looked at like who was following this person, you're like, oh. So yeah, I do not know how you could do that to a child.
No. Especially like now that it's like talked about again, like I wouldn't have thought about that. Like if I had kids 5 years ago, I probably would have posted them. But like in this day and age, with the willful ignorance, that's all that is. You gotta like,
like the info, the facts are out there at this point. Like people are choosing to ignore it.
Yeah, gross.
So
anyway,
child
Bobby,
exploitation. Let's end this with Bobby.
I'm glad you brought that up though, because like that's something that he does that's such a big problem aside from just the food part of all this.
Yeah, and it will have like long lasting effects.
Yeah. Oh, poor Rose.
I know, someone save her. But let's finish this up. So why should we care if something is Bobby approved when he has no idea what he's talking about? Because it's like, I was about to say it's so easy to get a big following. LOL.
That's why we did it.
When people are making these really controversial, polarizing claims over and over and again, it's easier to get a lot of attention. Like when you're making definitive statements, even if you're wrong, like people, it's the confidence and it's the certainty that like is so like attracts people to that. It's like, oh, this person knows what they're talking about.
And he's like well-spoken and like seems like he knows what he's talking about. He seems trustworthy if you don't know what to look for.
Yeah. But this is why we're constantly educating you guys on digging a little bit deeper, looking into their background. That's always like the first thing I do. But then like also it's just so harmful. That's why we care the most, is like, honestly, I I am annoyed by how much money he makes by it, but it's because he's like exploiting people's fears and his child. But because he has such a big following and he has so much influence, he can like change people's lives, which is kind of scary when someone who's making you increase your grocery bill and then you don't have enough money to pay for rent or your medical bills or whatever it is, but because you trusted someone who came off as trustworthy, like you put your faith in them, and that's not on you, it's on him because he is abusing his power.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not a bad thing to have a popular, successful business and to make money, but it is a problem if you do it like this. And you like knowingly, which I'm again speculating here, but I'm guessing he knows at this point all the comments that he receives and all the stitches and the duets on TikTok. Like there's got to be at least an inkling that he knows that what he's doing is incorrect, unethical, immoral, bone chilling.
But
like he keeps
quick
doing
side
it.
note, I know we're finishing this up. I promise I will make this quick. Why is he not blocked Liam yet? I was just thinking of that.
I saw one of Liam's videos today, and Liam said that someone keeps reporting him, and all the comments were like, "Oh, it's probably Bobby reporting you." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you're right, it probably is." So I don't know. I don't know if maybe he has, and Liam is like getting his videos from someone else who Bobby hasn't blocked. If maybe Liam's like another account or something, which is actually very smart. I should like.
It is pretty easy to get them.
Yeah,
that is very.
Because I'm sure Bobby has blocked him. I'm sure of it.
He just can't figure out which one. Which one of his other followers is Liam in disguise. Okay, sorry. That was my side point. I was like, I was feel like every time. I feel like every time I'd see like this person stitch your video, I just get so mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's.
Have you ever gotten stitched?
I have.
Was it good or bad?
Bad. I rarely get stitched well. But it was one of my favorite stitches. And then they deleted it like after an hour or so because it was like stupid. I might have talked to you about this.
I think I remember this.
But one of my favorite stitches, because I like was ready to like roast this person.
I think I remember this. Yes.
It was about like it was like a year or two ago. My like Gym Bros post, like I don't even know what I said in it. I could not remember what I said in it, but it was like something about like Gym Bros, like probably fear-mongering food when they should be like looking at themselves from a disorienting standpoint, like something like that. Like the call is coming from inside the house.
Yeah.
And this guy just stitched it with like just like from here to here, him flexing, and my muscles are bigger than his, and I don't work out my upper body.
I remember. Oh my God.
And I was cackling. It was like at the time I was like still pretty like new to hate comments, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, what is this? But then like I was like, wait, this is so funny. And they took it down.
I wonder why. Maybe they got comments from your people that were like, bro.
It was up for less than 12 hours. Oh my gosh. Like I was so upset. I should have stitched it quicker. But
or downloaded it at least.
Yeah, but it was funny. I enjoyed that.
That was amazing. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I know you get stitched.
I have.
Has anyone ever flexed? What's your favorite stitch?
I can't think back to, I kind of want to look at like my own stitches. I think you could do that on TikTok. I don't know. They're all kind of running together. They're all the same. Just like telling me that I'm prone to obesity, you know, the usual.
How boring.
How boring.
They should switch it up and start flexing.
Be more creative. Start flexing like Emily's haters.
Oh, that was so fun.
That's amazing.
I love that. But yeah. So that's Bobby. We're going to do more influencer reviews in the future just because these are so fun. And It's gossipy. We love talking about
Fun,
gossip.
but also devastating.
Yeah, a little bit sad. But we have to laugh, otherwise we'll just spiral.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, season
So-
7 off to a good start.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Go listen on over to our bonus question, become a Tud Bud, and listen to the Beet Deets because we have a very fun question today. And we'll catch you next week.
Thanks, guys. See you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in on this episode of the Up-Beet Dietitians with your hosts, Emily Krause and Hannah Thompson.
We appreciate you all so much for continuing to support us. In order to support us and sustain the success of this podcast, please subscribe and leave a rating and review.
If you'd like to provide us feedback for future episodes and guest stars, follow us on Instagram at the Up-Beet Dietitians.
Lastly, you can show us support by providing a monthly donation using the link at the end of our bio.
Once again, thank you so much for listening today and stay tuned next Wednesday for a new episode. Until then, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.